The National CSO Convention of 2025. Honorable Minister of Internal Affairs, represented by the Permanent Secretary, Lieutenant General Joseph Musanyifu, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Internal Affairs, represented by the Secretary of the Bureau, Dr. Stephen Okello, Your Excellency, the German Ambassador to the Republic of Uganda, Ambassador Matthias Schauer, all the different development partners, the GIZ, the Royal Netherlands Embassy in Uganda, the Royal Danish Embassy in Uganda, and the European delegation in Uganda. The CSO leaders present in the room, the media, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to the CSO Convention. Karibu sana. We are gathered today at a critical time, but an important time as civil society organizations for the National CSO Convention of 2025. Let me start by maybe saying what you know, that this is a year of 2025 that's been a pivotal year in our development. We have always known development to be the 3 Ds. That there is development, there is diplomacy, and there is defense. That has been how the global world has run, on the 3 Ds: development, defense, and diplomacy. Unfortunately, what we've seen at the beginning of the year is the death of one of the Ds, and the D is development. And we now left the world running on 2 Ds. That is diplomacy and defense. At such a time, civil society is called upon to play yet another important role. The role of civil society in this country is known and written perhaps everywhere. There is no government document where the role of civil society is not articulated. We are working with the government, we work with the media, we work with the private sector, and our role is well articulated in the National Development Plan 4, and this is largely intended for development, social inclusion, and for us as civil society organizations to ensure that we are helping to improve the social indicators of our people. But against that background, we are a sector which is vilified and lionized in equal measure. We loved and hated in equal measure. But regardless, we continue doing what we want to do, and that is to engage with our people, with our communities, to develop our communities. A number of things that have changed, and last year, the NGO Amendment 2024 Act made a number of changes that would perhaps have a long impact on the sector, placing the NGO Bureau directly under the Minister of Internal Affairs. That definitely comes with merits, that it gives us a better alignment with the ministry. But at the same time, it puts us under the microscope. While with that happening, you also know that 2025 has been a year when the funding landscape supporting civil society has drastically changed. The USAID, which is perhaps the largest aid apparatus, is now resting quietly in the cemetery. We know that therein is the development, the democratic governance facility alongside there. A number of foundations that support the sector are sunsetting and closing their work. This is all against the background that we also have a very weak philanthropy mechanisms from which we could actually raise resources. And so, aware of all this, we are convening this CSO convention to look at the future of civil society with a focus on the law, on focus on the money and the politics. The law is important because as a sector, we are wanting to use these 2 days to be able to look, reflect on what the regulatory environment means for this sector. We are a heavily regulated sector, and nobody would ever not want to be regulated. Whether you're a business, whether you're a sector, you want to be regulated, but you don't want to be controlled. We will also be looking at the aspect of money, because we are at a time when there is funding squeeze. When you are a civil society leader like myself, every time you're running an organization whose resources are dwindling and you're running an organization on a shoestring budget, the bandwidth to think strategically is always the first casualty. We hope that during these 2 days, we could actually be able to talk about financial sustainability and how we can build organizational resilience for us to continue doing our work and driving our mission priorities. There is no prize for guessing that this is a pre-election year with elections coming up in 2026. If you read the headline of, I think, the Daily Monitor, it spells that the struggle, the fight, the campaigns are starting off today. And so at such a time, it's very important that as a sector, we are able to position ourselves as appropriately so that we are not misunderstood, but at the same time, we remain focused to working with our people. So, for us as we look at the future, we want to be able to scale not our work, but scale what works. We hope that this CSO convention gives us an opportunity for closer collaboration and closer coordination. This convention, for the National Convention, is providing us the connective tissue for us to be able to work together. We are at a time when we need the sector perhaps more than ever before. And anything that reduces the sector, especially at this point, would be nothing close like removing the fire brigade when there is a wildfire. We hope that the fire brigade will not be removed at this time. And so, as I end my closing remarks and welcome, I want to extend special thanks to our partners with whom we cordially convene this. Thank you, GIZ, for making this possible. Thank you, the European Union delegation in Uganda, for making this possible. And thank you, the NGO Bureau, who we work very closely with. Sometimes there is a negative narrative out there that the sector doesn't work closely with the NGO Bureau. That's completely not correct, because we do work very closely with the NGO Bureau, and for even organizing this is co-convened with the NGO Bureau. So thank you. Let this be 2 days of a good conversation, 2 days of a good reflection, 2 days of good soul searching as we look into the future of civil society. Thank you for making the time, all of you. We know perhaps you could be somewhere, but we thank you for making the time. For those that are not in the room and online, we thank you that you've actually committed to be on this online. Thank you for making the time. So once again, thank you for coming to this National CSO Convention 2025. And right now, it is my singular honor to invite the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, represented here by Dr. Stephen Okello. You're welcome.
We are wondering what's happening. The Permanent Secretary, Minister of Internal Affairs, is in the room, but you are seeing someone else. There were some adjustments where I am representing the Permanent Secretary and the Permanent Secretary representing the Minister. So as for now, that's the hat I'm wearing as I stand here. Others do not want to clap to that. Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Internal Affairs, Your Excellencies, the ambassadors, and all the heads of the diplomatic missions who are present here, the representatives of the different development partners in the country, the European Union and the GIZ representatives who are present. I don't know whether I should recognize myself. I should have been sitting that side, but the Secretary NGO Bureau, Dr. Isoba Moses, the ED NGO Forum, leaders of the civil society organization across the country who are present here today, all the participants who have spared time to be here, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen, good morning everyone. It's with great honor on behalf of the Minister of Internal Affairs to welcome you all to this second National Civil Society Convention 2025. The impressive diversity of the participants who are gathered here today, ranging from government institutions to civil society leaders, development partners, the academia, and the private sector, demonstrates the central place that civil society occupies in Uganda's governance and development journey. This year's theme, the future of civil society in Uganda, the law, the money, and the politics, is both timely and deliberate. It reflects the reality that the strength and survival of civil society depend on how well we manage the intersection of legal frameworks, financial sustainability, and political engagement. None of these dimensions can stand alone. Together, they form the foundation of a vibrant and a very resilient sector. On the legal front, the passage of the NGO Amendment Act 2024 and the ongoing review of the NGO regulatory framework invite all of us to reflect critically on how regulation can both safeguard accountability and at the same time empower organizations to fulfill their mandates. The law should not be seen merely as a constraint, but as a framework that provides clarity, order, and legitimacy while allowing space for creativity and innovation. On the question of resources, just as Dr. Isoba indicated, the financial pressures facing the sector are real. With the traditional donor streams narrowing, many organizations are grappling with sustainability. Yet within this challenge lies an opportunity, and that is an opportunity for the sector to rethink funding models, to nurture local philanthropy, to build meaningful partnerships with the private sector, and to innovate around social enterprises. The ability of civil society to secure diverse and reliable resources will determine its future strength. And then there is also the political environment, just as has already been indicated. Civil society has for long been a trusted partner in advancing accountability, promoting participation, and safeguarding the democratic processes. Its contributions are particularly visible during elections and times of political transition. Yet it is also during such moments that civic actors face the greatest pressures. We must continue to strengthen the culture of dialogue and mutual respect between government and civil society, ensuring that this relationship remains anchored in our shared commitment to national development and stability. However, the sector should carefully manage the thin line between being involved in political processes and engaging in partisan politics. The NGO Act, Chapter 109, does not accept the sector participating in partisan politics, and they should really endeavor to avoid that temptation. Looking at technology, this is shaping how civil society operates by enabling outreach, mobilizing communities, and amplifying voices. But it also raises concerns about equity and access, particularly for those who remain disconnected. And I think Dr. Isoba also touched on that. As we discuss the future, we must embrace technology in ways that are inclusive and sustainable. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, working through the National Bureau for NGOs, remains committed to fostering an enabling environment where civil society can thrive. We view CSOs as competitors, as not competitors, but as partners in delivering services, amplifying community voices, and ensuring that no one is left behind. The Ministry of Internal Affairs is in the process of reviewing the entire NGO regulatory framework. I call upon all the stakeholders present to actively participate in this particular exercise. We conducted a regulatory impact assessment, and currently we are conducting consultations countrywide. We intend to develop a regulatory framework that provides an environment for the sector that is friendly, healthy, conducive, and enabling. We are also in the process of establishing an interagency forum for all the key government MDAs involved in the work of CSOs in the country. This platform is supposed to bring together all the MDAs that should work in a harmonized and streamlined manner in engaging the sector. We are also in the process of verifying and validating the operations of CBOs operating countrywide. As you are aware, CBO activities countrywide have not been streamlined over the years. There are CBOs who actually are fit to operate as NGOs in this country. And also, if you go around the country, you'll see that different districts and cities appear to have their own mode and arrangement in overseeing CBO operations. Through this exercise, the exact number of CBOs and the contribution of CBOs countrywide will soon be appreciated. In conclusion, allow me to commend the conveners, and that is the Uganda National NGO Forum, the NGO Bureau, GIZ, and the EU for shaping this convention as a space for a honest dialogue, collective reflection, and above all, practical commitments. As we begin these 2 days of discussions, I urge all of us to engage openly, to listen deeply, and to contribute constructively. The challenges are many, but the opportunities are even greater. Together, we can chart a future where the civil society remains strong, resilient, and indispensable to Uganda's progress.
Good morning, and thank you for hosting me. I am truly delighted to be at the National CSO Convention for the second time. I remember 2 years ago, the Honorable Minister of Internal Affairs, Kahinda Otafira, opened the CSO Convention, and I was impressed by his speech because he very clearly stated that collaboration between government and civil society is both necessary and mutually beneficial. Let me also be quite clear. Without the contribution of civil society, Uganda will not be able to achieve its ambitious goals as outlined in the Vision 2040 and the National Development Plan 4, both of which clearly recognize the contribution of CSOs to the socio-economic development of this country. In Germany, we heavily depend on civil society to complement the government's efforts. Almost 40% of German inhabitants above the age of 14 years regularly engage in civil society and voluntary activities each year. Our federal president, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, regularly publicly recognizes these outstanding individuals for their commitment. Civil society is essential for inclusive societies where no one is left behind. It is a link between the government and the population at large. Via civil society organizations, the population, in particular marginalized groups, can share ideas and concerns. Additionally, CSOs can also help explain government policies rights and opportunities to citizens that might otherwise never hear about them. Finally, alongside state institutions, CSOs are essential in helping to deliver services to the respective beneficiaries. I'm sometimes a bit troubled by an antagonism that I sense here in this wonderful country of Uganda, that parts of the government are not trusting CSOs, and that makes me sad, because actually CSOs and the government are allies, they are partners, they have the same goal, they want to make Uganda a better country to live in. Let me give you a concrete example of a German NGO that is dear to my heart, the German Alpine Club, or German Alpine Association. It's a perfect example for combining service delivery and promoting the greater good. It plays a decisive role in protecting the unique environment of Germany's biggest mountain range, the Alps, but it also maintains a vast number of trails and huts that enable and promote sustainable tourism. I was a member for decades, and I appreciated the fact that not only I benefit as a member through reduced rates, using the huts, for instance, but also the environment and the people working in the tourism sector were benefiting from my annual contributions to this society. Ladies and gentlemen, based on the understanding that government and civil society must work hand in hand, Germany, together with the European Union, supports state and non-state actors through the governance and civil society program implemented by GIZ. The project strengthens stakeholders in fulfilling their respective roles regarding accountability, the implementation of principles of good governance, and the realization of human rights.
Today, we are not here as government on one side and civil society on another. We are here as partners, each with responsibilities to our people and our nation, Uganda. Civil society in Uganda has a long and proud record, from supporting communities during emergencies to advancing human rights, providing services in health, education, and livelihoods. Civil society organizations have complemented the government's work and amplified citizens' voices. Their contributions are recognized in our National Development Plan 4, which positions civil society as an essential partner in the national transformation. The chosen theme this year, the future of civil society in Uganda, the law, the money, and the politics, is both honest and urgent. It points us to the very pillars that will determine whether this continues to thrive. First, the law. As a country, we need a regulatory framework that supports growth, innovation, and accountability. The recent NGO Amendment Act 2024 and the ongoing review of the NGO policy and Act provide a unique opportunity. These reforms should give us clarity, predictability, and fairness. But let me stress, regulation must never be about stifling initiative. It must be about creating order while allowing organizations to serve our people effectively. Second, the money. We all know the pressures now. External funding has reduced, leaving many CSOs vulnerable. But Uganda cannot afford a society that collapses whenever external support shrinks. We must therefore explore new approaches, such as local philanthropy, private sector partnerships, and innovative financing models. Civil society must cultivate stronger domestic roots so that its work is owned and supported by Ugandans themselves. This convention is not simply about speeches, it's about commitments. It must leave us with a clear agenda: how we regulate fairly, how we finance sustainably, how we engage politically with responsibility, and how we harness technology effectively. As Minister of Internal Affairs, I want to assure you that the government remains committed to working with civil society in a spirit of partnership. Our common goal is a peaceful, prosperous Uganda, where every citizen's dignity and voice is respected. I commend the conveners, the Uganda National NGO Forum, the National Bureau for NGOs, and GIZ for organizing this important gathering. I also thank each and every one of you for making this time to be part of it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my distinct honor to declare the National Civil Society Convention 2025 officially open. Thank you for God and my country.